Yes, but I've seen many circumstances. United Care had um, made an announcement a month or so ago that they were making grants available to small and medium-sized nonprofits, and so that's the nonprofit help desk clientele. And we reached out to a lot of our clients and said, "Hey, are you aware of this? Can we help you write a grant proposal?" We actually helped quite a number of them write grant proposals. But we asked them to go through their criteria and come back to us if they were eligible, and it was surprising to me to find out that a lot of them are coming back to us without meeting the basic requirements. They had to be in a certain area. Some of them were not in that area. They had to have been in existence for a certain number of years. Some of them were just founded 6 months ago. So it's something that you've got to consider and look into, because the bottom line is it's going to take time, energy, resource to develop a grant proposal, and why waste it? If they're just going to look at a checklist and say, forget that one, you just spent a lot of time for nothing. Reviewing the documentation requirements, and as I said, we'll talk more about all of these. But you've got to have your paperwork in order. More when we actually get to that one. Identify the submission deadline. A lot of what I'm going to be saying today is common sense. So some things are more obviously common sense than others, but I'm mentioning it because it happens to be overlooked. And that includes, by the way, figuring that it'll take a certain amount of time to get the proposal from you to them. Everybody automatically thinks, oh, I'll just email it. Read the fine print. A lot of them don't want an email. Why? I don't know. But you've got to put it in an envelope and hand it to FedEx or US Mail and get it there. And however you do it, that's going to take some time. Organizing and writing the grant request, which is sort of self-evident, doesn't write itself, and understanding the submission mechanics, which as we'll see can vary from anything to send a Word document in an email to filling out this arcane, complex, difficult to use web form, which which are becoming fairly prevalent today among the larger funding providers. Okay. So we sort of broached on a lot of this in our introductory remarks. Different grantors have different social missions and agendas, and the synergies is not something that necessarily has to be blatant and explicit. It could be a matter of creative spin. You see the example that I have there with respect to education, and this is an actual real life example for an organization that we were helping to prepare a grant request for. Now, they were targeting to that point grantors that focused on education. This particular grantor was focusing on addressing the root causes of poverty. Now, it's self-evident if you stop to think about it. Poor education is definitely a significant cause of the perpetuation of poverty. Clearly somebody who has a good education is much less likely to remain in a state of poverty. So you can talk about your remedial education and focus on the fact that students will do better. But if you talk about remedial education and focus on the fact that students will do better and thereby rise on the economic scale, so that little addition, and it's not just one sentence, but it should be something that permeates your proposal. That little addition will make the difference between this particular grantor tossing your application in the reject pile and actually reading it, because it legitimately addresses what they want to do, even though at first blush you may not have thought so. Okay, now so I'm going to stop for 1 second and ask, does anybody have any remarks, questions, or I want to just sort of